on the live. All right, let's get started. I'm Junior from Here For You Life Coaching. And I have this reputation amongst people that I've worked with in the past. And it's called cognitive filtering. But the way that they say it is like, well, he's just like that. He just discards people. Well, it's not just people, okay? It's things that are irrelevant information, okay? Think of it as tagging something mentally. Okay, now this is a mental discipline, but I don't like to use that word, although it is. Good morning, guys. Good morning, Jag. So I don't really like to use that word, okay? But basically what cognitive filtering is getting rid of the junk that doesn't serve you, okay? So you know how I always say you need to get rid of the people that don't serve you in your life? Okay, well that goes for circumstances as well, okay? Now this process is a process that you can use to just get rid of information you don't like. Are you thinking about your ex? Okay, you want to get rid of your ex in here? Okay, you can do that. Good morning, Sarah. Oh, your broadband was down. We missed you though. We missed you. Glad that you're here. Good morning. So how do you do this? How do you get things out of your mind, right? We know how things get in your mind. How do you get it out? Okay, well, subconscious rejection or cognitive filtering, okay? And it's really funny because I did not realize how people noticed this, okay? And it's a mental discipline skill, okay? But apparently people noticed and they said, oh yeah, Junior's like that. He can do that. Anyway, first, okay, the truth about forgetting on purpose. Okay, you can't just delete your memory like you drag and drop, something in the trash on a computer. You don't do it that way. There's no such thing. If you deliberately try to push something away, you're giving it energy. You are engaging, okay? And that will rebound and intensify because you have placed attention on it. Make sense? Okay? So if you apply attention to, let's say, your ex, let's say it's an ex, okay? And you focus on pushing your ex out, the focus is still your ex, okay? That's not gonna work, okay? What you need to do is you need to strip this ex of all emotional charges. You need to starve it of attention. You need to rewire its meaning. Okay, rewire its meaning. You need to weaken its recall pathway. Okay, recall, memory. Okay? And you need to have it fade into irrelevance. Okay, so it doesn't mean anything to you anymore. Okay, now, if, let's say you go on a date, because this happened to me a lot, right? I would go on dates and I would meet girls that were just swipe left girls that wanted, like a free dinner or something, right? And I had to put it out of my mind, okay? So within the first couple of minutes, see, I can automatically tell like where this is gonna go, like, way ahead of time. And so, I normally give it like 5 minutes. And in the span of 5 minutes, I can see exactly where this thing is going, okay? And if, how can I say this? If I know that this is going to be a waste of my time, I change my focus, okay? So mentally, I shift my focus. Okay, what does that mean? Well, I focus on the wine, the glass of wine, or I'll focus on the place, or, sometimes it's a place with music. I'll focus on the music. I'll be looking straight at the person. I'll be like, oh, okay, really? Wow, okay, right? But it's what you do with your mind. And I'll tell you the reason why, because you don't want junk in here. You don't want anything in here detracting from you, okay? Or things that will end up in here as mental clutter, okay? People are suffering from mental clutter today, okay? Because there's just too many distractions. Now, once you decrease the mental clutter, what happens? Well, things are easier to manage, okay? Thoughts are easier to manage. So how do you do this? Well, you have to tag these things as non-significant, Okay? Mentally tag these things. Now, if it's a person, then you'll go, well, I thought this was a good investment of my time, but I was wrong. There you go. And you disassociate any feeling from it. In other words, you don't feel bad about it. You're not saying, oh, this girl was terrible, just like that. No, you don't do that. You let go. Okay? And that will delete her or him, whoever, right, from your memory. And it will take, for me now, I've perfected this thing over the years. So it normally just takes me a couple of weeks, and then I'm like, what? Who? What? Like, you know, I sometimes I don't even remember their names. Okay, and I'm talking about guys too. I'm talking about guys that waste my time. I'm talking about salespeople. I'm talking about people that have worked for me that I need to put out of my mind because it didn't work or because they took advantage or whatever it was. Okay, and I go through a lot of subcontractors. So anyway, but things like that. Okay, so these things, right? When you have bad memories of someone, when you have bad memories of something, when you have bad memories of an experience, let's say you went to the canoe races or something, or like in Hawaii we have a lot of canoe races. Let's say you go to the canoe races and it was raining and you had a miserable time and you ruined your favorite shirt or whatever, okay? Or you got it muddy because there was mud and whatever, right? Bad experience, okay? In order to put it out of your mind, first of all, you got to take away the bad from it. And you need to remove all emotion of it. And you need to go, okay, this experience here, insignificant, doesn't mean anything. And now it can slowly fade. Now, depending on how skilled you become at this, depending how good you can become at this, okay, because there's a lot of people, right, they get divorced and they're plagued by this memory, and it, because maybe they feel they failed at the marriage, maybe they feel that, or maybe somebody cheated, maybe whatever it was. Get over it, okay? Get over it. Build a bridge and get over it, okay? And all you need to do really is remove the emotion, number one, okay? Label it insignificant, number two, okay? And yeah, when you invest years in someone, okay, or could be a lot of years, could be a little years, whatever, but you need to let go, okay? Now, this cognitive filtering works very, very well when you practice it like anything else, and it works in your subconscious. It guards your subconscious, okay? It's subconscious rejection. It's a thing. Look it up. Do some research on it, okay? So when people say they forgot something, what they're really saying is, my brain no longer flags this as important, okay? Because nobody really forgets. People that think they have bad memories are just not familiar with the subconscious retrieval process, okay? And it's ask, believe, receive, okay? So it's the same process as manifestation. You ask, okay, what's wrong? Well, what happened when I was 5 years old? What happened when I was 6 years old regarding XYZ? And you ask the question. You believe you will get the answer. Okay, just like manifestation, it's the same thing. Works for everything. Now, your subconscious is your book of life. It has everything written in it. Okay? So you're not going to get that answer right then and there. But believe, okay, so a belief is a thought you keep thinking, and it has to go into your subconscious as a belief. So you ask enough, okay, maybe over a 2-week period, you keep asking. And you probably won't get the answer if it's very distant, okay? But one day you're going to be in the shower, you're going to be washing dishes, you're going to be mowing the lawn, you're going to be on the bus or in a taxi or driving, and it's going to hit you. And you're going to go, whoa, I got my answer. I got it. You see? But because of pop culture, because of television, because of movies, because of social conditioning, you have been led to believe you have a bad memory. You don't have a bad memory. You don't exercise your memory. Okay? So subconscious conditioning needs to be exercised. It needs to happen in repetition. So in other words, what I'm telling you, if you're not recalling regularly, purposely recall, okay, your response will slow down. If you only recall once in a while, right? Like most people dismiss recall. They dismiss it. They go, hey, what was that? And say, oh, never mind. And then they forget it and they move on to something else. Why? Because the social conditioning out here will distract you into something else. And now you're on that train. Okay? And you keep jumping from train to train to train to thought to thought to thought to thought. And what happens in the meantime? You lose time. And your time is your life. If something is out here, like a, let's say, shiny object syndrome, okay? Shiny object. Whoa, look at that, look at that, look at that. And then over here, there's one more here. Oh, wow, look at that, look at that, look at that. Oh, look at that, look at that, look at that. You're being distracted from life. You are being distracted from the things that mean the most to you. Why? Because you're getting pulled over here. You're getting pulled over here. People are demanding your time over here. People are demanding your time over here. You're online over here. Okay. And I'm not saying that this is exclusively online, because it's not. People waste your time in person all the time. You need to eliminate the time wasters. People that take your time for granted. I give a lot of time. I give a lot of my time. But when I give my time, it's for help purposes. It's to help someone. And sometimes it's to enjoy. If I enjoy my company, I'll give them my time. But if I meet somebody and I'm like, okay, this is just a waste of time. Because somebody, somebody once told me, they said, well, you know why they want to talk to you is because you're a celebrity or whatever. And I'm like, yeah, maybe. And I started to realize that. And I started to realize that a lot of the conversation, a lot of the people that were demanding my time, they weren't really, and they, I don't want to say demanding in the demanding sense, okay? But when you require time from someone, you're demanding it, okay? Like on demand, okay? But in that sense, right, sometimes the conversation really doesn't make sense too much, because it's just back and forth kind of stuff. And then, you got to go, oh, okay, they just wanted to, have a conversation with me because of whatever I do, or entertainment, or whatever it is, or whatever. Okay. Now people want to have conversation with me because they need help with these things. They need help with their subconscious. They need help with manifesting things in their life. They need help with accomplishing, achievements, or a good job, or whatever it is, a good relationship, that kind of thing. But when I used to get a lot of the, celebrity-oriented kind of things, and people used to, tie up my time with those things, after a while I'm like, okay. But I still had a sense of, I have to give them my attention, okay, because these people are customers in a way, because they're listening to the radio program, they're watching the television shows. Okay, they're on my social media. They're supportive in that way, and if they're supporting me, I always give back. So that part was important. But at a certain point, you go, okay, that's enough. Okay, I'm done, and you politely excuse yourself. Okay, that kind of thing. Because what happens is the Debbie Downers of the world. Okay, and it's not exclusively to women or anything like that. I'm just saying. Those kinds of people will weigh you down and take your energy. Okay, because it's negative. So I'm just saying if it's negative, okay? If it's negative, it will start to drain you, okay? And you will walk away feeling tired and drained because you've given your time to someone who is just basically abusing you, putting you through this negativity, okay? So what you want to do is label this experience if it's that kind of thing, right? Um, so relevant. You have okay. So Sarah says this is so relevant to me. I've had so many builders recently take advantage of me financially. Builders. Are you in construction, Sarah? Are you a contractor? What? You keep thinking how I could. Okay, so basically reframe, refocus, but this is in a more deliberate manner. This is guarding your subconscious. This is at a little deeper level, but it's the same principle. Oh, you're renovating a property. Oh, okay, okay, okay. So yeah. Don't feel obligated to people that are wasting your time and resources. Okay, that's the worst thing you could do. Because what you're really saying is that waste of time, or you know, let's say someone who's charging you more than they should, or somebody who's taking advantage of you. What you're saying when you condone those things is, yeah, this is legit, and that's bad for your subconscious because that's bad for your self-esteem, and that will weigh on you and weigh you down. Okay, so why does our brains hold on to this information? Why does the brain hang on to this, or your mind, right? Hang on to negative circumstances in the first place. Do you remember we talked about negativity bias? Okay, so negativity, right? Like attracts like. Okay, so negativity bias in the human being means that we spot the negative things first, but it's for survival as a species. It's not because we're prone to bad stuff. Okay, it's so that we can identify the threats and survive. Basically, that's what it is. But the brain keeps memories based on three priority signals. Okay, count them. Three. Okay, emotional intensity, repetition, subconscious. Okay, and unresolved meaning. Okay, unresolved meaning. He cheated on me, and I don't know why. And you're waiting, and you keep thinking, and your mind has automatically, your subconscious has automatically been directed to figure out why. And now you're pondering. Now you're wondering. Okay, it's almost the same as worrying. Now, worrying is praying for something bad to happen. Pondering and wondering is trying to figure out something that's unresolved. So if a person, place, or moment still triggers, anger, regret, shame, attachment, longing, guilt, those things, then the brain will not release it. Why? Because there's emotions attached to it. Anger, regret, shame, attachment, longing, guilt. Those are all emotions. They're negative emotions, but they're emotions. And as long as this exists, it will persist. Okay? It's not quite the same as what resists persists. Okay? But it's emotion. You're giving it power. You're taking your emotions, your negative emotions, and you're applying it to the subject. And the subject could be, I wonder why he cheated. I wonder why she cheated. I wonder why she, did this, that, and the other thing, and blah, 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 whatever. What did I do to cause this? What did I do, or what am I doing that people are always taking advantage of me? There you go, okay? So now you're applying these things to something past tense, to something in the past. You're applying these things to something that has already happened. So the reason why I'm bringing this up today is because somebody pointed it out to me. Um, they brought it up to me. They said, yeah, you have a reputation for just putting people and things out of your mind. And I'm like, yeah, because it's not serving me. And this is not egotistical. This is not prideful. This is not anything but self-preservation, okay? It's not being selfish either. Why would you continually want your mind to be plagued with negativity? It's like saying you want to be in shoulda, woulda, coulda permanently, okay? But the brain looks at these negative emotions, right, as unfinished business. And as long as it's unfinished in the mind, your subconscious will keep trying to figure it out. Okay? So there are things that you can permanently let go of, and there's things that you can just suppress a little bit. But keep in mind, like I said, if you deliberately suppress it, okay, you're going to give it more power. Because now there's an effort involved. Okay? There's a deliberate action. Action is the key word. Deliberate action involved in suppression. Where you think, oh, I'm not going to think about him anymore. I'm not going to think about her anymore. I'm not going to, that kind of thing. But what you're doing is it's an act of pushing down. It's an act of suppression. So you can permanently neutralize past relationships, embarrassing moments, toxic environments. There are so many embarrassing moments in my life, I just put it out of my head. I put it out of my mind. Old versions of yourself, you can put that out of your mind. You can permanently let go of old versions of yourself. Hey, Didi, good morning. Locations tied to pain. Locations tied to something that wasn't pleasant. Identity-linked memories, things that you identified with that either no longer exist or no longer serve you. All of these things you can permanently let go of, okay? What fades is not the information, not the data, not the specifics. That doesn't fade. That's in your memory forever. It's in your subconscious, and you can go back and retrieve it. Because you're like a computer. You're exactly like a computer. Computers are modeled from human beings. So the data doesn't fade, the details don't fade, they don't go away, okay? The emotional weight and automatic recall do. Because if something is tied to an emotion, the recall is like that. Recall. The minute you think of something, thought first, then the emotion comes. Okay? So another thing that assists with this process is when you get the thought, okay, your amygdala is going to give you variations on that emotion as soon as you feel it and it has gone more than 6 seconds down the road. So what do? Well, you turn it off. You say stop. Okay, so let's say you're trying to forget your ex. You see something that triggers the thought of your ex. Maybe it's an ice cream parlor and you guys always went for ice cream, okay? And you pass and you see, oh, hey, there's Baskin Robbins, and you flash into that memory with your ex, okay? Now what happens? The feeling, the emotion comes, okay? Now that could be a good emotion. It could be a longing emotion, right? Longing. Or it could be unpleasant. It could be like, oh man, yeah, we used to get ice cream and I miss him. Stuff like that, okay? Now, when that happens, you have 6 seconds. Or the amygdala will start presenting you with negativity. in the form of what ifs. What if he still loves me? Oh, what if he's getting ice cream with another girl now? What if, okay, and all these things are going to be negative. And the monster gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. But that's what the amygdala does. It's not trying to plague you on purpose. It's trying to identify threats. Okay, so once emotion is gone, once you remove the emotion from the equation or from the situation, memory becomes distant. It becomes neutral. It loses its grip, in other words, its emotional grip. Okay? It becomes inactive and non-intrusive. It doesn't intrude on your life. It doesn't bother you like that. It's in the back of your mind, but you ignore it. You let it go. You say, that doesn't matter. I saw an ice cream parlor today, and yes, Bob and I used to get ice cream, but it doesn't matter anymore. Bob's not important. Now you automatically push it back. It goes back. It goes back. I got this process down so well I could go on first dates and completely forget the girls' names 2 weeks later. Completely. If it didn't go anywhere, if I thought, nah, I don't want to go out with this girl, whatever it was, in 2 weeks I would not remember her name. But yeah, when I think of things, right? I think of like, maybe the topic is first dates, and I go, yeah, I remember this girl. Yeah, I remember that girl, whatever. And then I can remember the details, of course. And it comes back. Yeah, it comes back. I don't remember her name because she's not important. Okay? So in other words, what I'm telling you is the label is no longer a label of importance. A name is a label. Who's this girl? Oh, well, she's Sharon, or she's Althea, or whoever. Okay? Now, what you cannot forcefully erase. You cannot willpower delete someone, or a memory, or a thing, or an experience. Okay? You cannot delete trauma by suppression. In other words, when you suppress trauma, when you push it down, okay, that's energetic. Everything is energy in the universe. You're pushing it down. Think about it. You're using effort to suppress trauma. Guess what happens when you do that? It acts out in other ways. People get sick from doing that. Physically sick. Things go wrong. Organs fail. Cancer happens. Things go wrong. Okay? It can happen if it's severe enough. And every individual is different. Every degree of trauma is different. Deeply encoded emotional memories are another one. So when you have a strong emotion, which is what trauma is, it's a strong emotion that sticks out that was negative. That's the definition of trauma. Any memory that is charged with emotion is going to stick out. Okay? Think about the best time in your life, the best moments of your life. I can think of two. And the ones that stick out for me is when I won an award for my horsemanship. I owned a horse for 11 years and finally committed to training because I wasn't feeling grateful. And then I took second place with a team sorting. And that was the happiest, proudest day of my life because it had nothing to do with anything else that I was doing. It didn't have to do with business. It didn't have to do with marketing. It didn't have to do with entertainment. It didn't have to do with radio or television. It didn't have to do with any of that. It was so outside the box that it was special. The other one was when I was 16 and I got my bike and I woke up Christmas morning and walked out and whoa, there's my bike. It was an amazing bike. So for me, those are examples of memories sticking out that were good. Okay. And you need to remember these memories. The memories that stick out that are bad, okay, emotionally charged memories that stick out that are negative is trauma. Can trauma be reversed? Not necessarily. Can it die down? Can you push it in? Yeah. Okay. Well, maybe we'll go over that tomorrow. Okay. But yeah, you can, and you can do a lot by yourself to remedy it, or you can go to therapy. So these things that are emotionally charged, you cannot use willpower to delete. So if you try, okay, if you try to, let's say, let's say you're, let's say you're trying to uh, violently suppress a memory, like really hard, like real violently trying to suppress a memory, it intensifies, okay? And you get what's called a rebound effect in your subconscious. Those were great memories. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Um, so the rebound effect, right? It's based on the same law, the same universal law that what you resist persists, okay? Because you're giving it attention. It's the law of attraction. It's like attracts like. You're pushing, pushing, pushing on a negative emotion. What is pushing? It's negative, it's not positive. Okay? Threat tagging. When you tag something a threat, what does your amygdala do? Within 6 seconds, it starts giving you variations on a theme of the threat, and it makes it worse. Okay? So with these things, that's not the answer. Okay, so what we're really talking about, okay, is what we're talking about today, okay, and this is a form of mental discipline. It's how to do deliberate forgetting. You could put it that way if you want to. Okay, so meaning reassignment, right? So meaning reassignment was what we said to reclassify whatever it is. If it's a girl you want to forget, if it's an ex you want to forget, reclassify them as insignificant. Okay, neither here nor there. Do not assign angry emotions to it, or sad emotions to it, or any emotions to it. Just release it. Just allow it out. Okay? So a visual for what that looks like is you embrace the memory and you let go. You detach. Okay? Detachment. And this is the most powerful, when you reassign its meaning as insignificant. Okay? You have to change what it meant, what it represented to you. What are the forms of threats? Anything negative that threatens anything in your life. Everybody's threats are different, right? Because somebody who is in the military has a different kind of threat than a civilian. So it depends on whatever it is. Okay, there you go, user. It just depends what's a threat for you. You know, what threatens your household? What threatens your income? What threatens your position at work? So you need to define those things. You need to think about that. Think about that. Okay? So when your memory actually will lose its authority when you reclassify these thoughts. Okay? So you meet someone, you went on a few dates, didn't work out. Inside you kind of feel like, oh well, I was hoping that would be the one. I was hoping she would be, whatever, receptive or into me or whatever. That didn't happen. Okay? Skip the it didn't happen part, okay? Allow it out. Okay? Allow it out. Okay? It doesn't mean anything to me. It doesn't mean anything. There's no meaning. Okay? And if you want to, you can say it's a waste of your time. That was a waste of my time. Doesn't mean anything. And move on. It's when you start attaching emotion to things that it grows. Because why? Where energy goes, right? Where focus goes, right? things intensify. Anytime you place focus on something, it will intensify. So when you reclassify things, it's much, much easier, and it goes away. Like I said, repetition is key as well. Okay, repetition is key for remembering in the subconscious, and the repetition of non-classification is also important to be done in repetition. And if you do it well enough, often enough, you can forget somebody's name in 2 weeks. It's not very difficult. I can remember people's faces sometimes, but even that gets sketchy. If it's been over a couple of years, it gets very vague in my mind on purpose. But this is how you save good things, and you separate the good things from the things that don't serve you, from the things that are insignificant, from the things that are bugging you, from the things that are irritating, from the things that are just occupying, like they say, living rent free in your head. You want to get those people out, get those things out, get those circumstances out, get those experiences out. Don't let them live rent free in your head. Okay? You have to cleanse, you have to purge. This is what meditation does. It allows you to release. It allows you to let go easily. Okay? You don't push something out. When you push something out, it rebounds. You get the rebound effect. You have to allow, you have to detach. Okay? And you can even bless it on its way out if you want to. Red Skelton was a comedian. He was a very popular comedian when I was just a little kid. And later on in the 80s, I read a thing about him. And he said, when somebody does me wrong, I go out on my porch and I propose a toast to him or her. He said, when they do something wrong to me the second time, I go out on my patio and I propose a toast to them. He said, the third time they do something wrong to me, I go out on my patio and I toast them goodbye. Now, this was his process. It's the same thing. When you're toasting somebody goodbye, it's insignificant. You're labeling it insignificant. The first 2 times he forgave. You see? It depends on, for me, it depends on what it is. If it's a swipe left girl just wasting my time for a free dinner or something like that, then yeah, the dinner doesn't even happen. I stand up, excuse myself, and leave, and that's it. And in 2 weeks, I don't even remember her name. But this is what you can do, okay? So emotional discharge is when something does not have an emotion attached to it, and you can discharge it. You can allow it out. You can let it go. Okay? If you're religious and you want to say, okay, God bless you, aloha, God bless you, goodbye, whatever it is, okay, and you just let it go. Okay? But this takes practice. This is mental discipline. So, methods that weaken the emotional charge, okay? How do you get rid of the emotional charge? Oh, he hurt me, and he was my ex. He hurt me. What can I do to help forget him, okay, or her, or whatever, right? And I'm using that because I get a lot of people that hit me up and on the website, and they want relationship counseling. They want some sort of perspective as to, they want answers. Some men, mostly men, want their ex back. Women are usually done. They're usually done. Okay, some of them want their ex back. Some of them miss their ex, whatever. But mostly it's men, in my experience. Okay, but things that can help you in that is breathing exercises, slow, regulated breathing. Okay, and this all circles back to meditation. Okay, and why it's so powerful. Okay, now vocal release, that's another one. So oddly enough, I get a lot of people at my vocal development school, a lot of women that have just broken up with their exes. Okay, they just gotten the breakup, right? And now they just know that there's something with confidence and vocal expression, right? But what they find out is the way that we do it is a little bit different. It's not like YouTube, and it clears your brain right away. And in fact, I have one girl right now who came to me like right after her breakup, and she is so solid and collected and together. Like it's amazing, and she's like a totally different person. You struggle the most with being taken advantage of because I don't behave that way. Yeah, so that happens, Sarah, when you have your set of morals and standards and everything, and uh, then you feel betrayed because you hold those things so dear. So it's even tougher for you. It's tougher in that way because you probably have a do unto others as others do unto me kind of thing, or whatever. Do unto others as you want people to do unto you, right? So that kind of thing, and we've been taught those things from when we're children. So when people just totally ignore that kind of thing, or they don't feel the way we do, then yeah, we feel betrayed. Good morning, lady boss. Good morning. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So so the other thing is, so vocal release, somatic shaking. What is somatic? Somatic is your body. Okay. Somatic shaking. Okay. EFT style tapping. Okay. Tapping. Tapping. Okay. Tapping. 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 Okay. EFT. Look it up. It's a thing. Grief processing. Okay. So there's a process to grieving. There are stages to grieving. Okay, that helps. Forgiveness processes. Okay, not reconciliation. Okay, but forgiveness, release. You forgive for yourself. You're forgiving the other person for yourself. Okay, you're not forgiving the other person for them. You're forgiving the other person for you, to preserve your integrity, to preserve your feelings, to preserve you. You just paid for a course that includes somatic shaking. Oh, nice, nice. You should try our course, our vocal expression. It's yeah, it'll work faster than that, faster. So attention withdrawal, or attention starvation, they call it. Okay, is when you don't give something your attention. Okay, it's called attention starvation for a reason. Starve something of your intention. That helps your subconscious a lot. Why? Because you're not focused on it. So it's the same idea. The brain strengthens what you feed your attention to. It's energy. You're engaging. You're going like this. You're engaging with it. Okay. And it happens when you mentally revisit it, or you ruminate over it. Okay. Or let's say you explain it to someone over and over again. You're telling your story. Oh, he cheated on me, or, she cheated on me, or, and you reiterate the story over and over. What are you doing? You're doing repetition. The subconscious learns in repetition. And now what you're doing is you're cementing it in your subconscious as a program, as a belief. Because now you believe that this was so traumatic. You're creating your own trauma in that instance. In other words, you're making it worse. You're making it a permanent belief. You're making it bigger. The minute you find out somebody cheated, or somebody did you wrong, or somebody whatever, cut the cords. Let it go. Do not let it continue to cause you damage in here. Okay? So retraining your brain is all that matters. Okay? Getting rid of the negative emotions is all that matters. So this deliberate forgetting, okay, deliberate getting it out of your head kind of thing, clean disengagement, okay? That's what I talked about, just letting go like that. Okay? Zero storytelling. Don't tell the story. Don't reiterate it. Don't speak it out loud. You will speak it into existence. Okay? Not only that, but you will solidify it in your subconscious. It'll be there as a program, as a belief. Okay? You don't want that. No mental replay. Don't think about it. Don't keep thinking about it. That's rumination. Don't think about it. And no identity linking. Okay? Identity linking. Don't link the identity. You know, oh, he's the kind of guy, he looks like Bob. Bob was the kind of guy that did this, and he looks like that guy. Don't do that. That brings it back. Okay? So we only have a little while, so I'm going to kind of just give rough overviews. If you have any questions, everybody in the chat over here on this side, if you guys have chat, we have 3 cameras, and we're on seven platforms every morning. So if you guys have any questions, please ask questions. We have about 10 minutes. So step by step, deliberate forgetting protocol, if you will, okay, or like how to do it. First, name the memory objectively. Okay, no feeling, no drama. You know, not like that damn Bob. Don't do that. Don't do that. Okay. Just, you know, and don't do stuff like the cheater. Don't say that. Okay. But label it. Okay. Not like, you know, oh, that was the worst experience of my life. Don't do that. That's emotional. Okay. Just say that event that happened, that thing that happened. Okay? It's insignificant, right? That thing that happened. It's just a thing. Okay? This begins detachment. This allows you to detach. Okay? Release all emotional charges. Do not assign any emotions to it. Okay? When the emotion is gone, the memory is untethered. Okay, it's not attached from rubbish, basically. Okay, so reassign the meaning. Okay? So what did you learn from this experience? Okay? Now, whatever it is, right? Just go, okay, what did this benefit? How did this benefit from me? How did this benefit me? Okay, and think of that. And you label that experience non-significant. Okay, identity severance, right? That means you sever the identity. You don't give it an identity, because then you empower it. Then you're engaging. When you engage, you join, right? Okay? So say something internally like that belonged to who I, or if you have a hobby, focus on the hobby. Okay, focus on something. Focus on comedies, things that make you laugh, things that pull you away from negative emotions, or applying negative emotions to something. Okay, so why can't some people let go? Take care, Sarah. Take care. Thank you for joining us. Why can't some people let go? Well, they tie emotion to it, like nostalgia, victim identity, okay? Because they're saying that they're the victim. So they're identifying as a victim, right? That perpetuates everything, okay? What are some of the others? Hate bonding, okay? I hate so-and-so. I hate so now you're bonding to that memory. Suppressing thoughts, because you're pushing it down. You're engaging with it, but you're pushing it down. It doesn't matter if you're pushing it down or pulling it up. You're engaging with it. It becomes the topic in the subconscious, okay? forcing positivity. I see people do that all the time. They're trying to convince themselves that they're positive, and they're forcing positivity. And when you force positivity, what happens? You're basically fronting. Okay, fronting, it's a street term. That means you're putting on a front, you're putting on a mask. You're pretending, okay? But that's not you, okay? You're pretending you're positive. You're acting positive. There's a difference between acting positive and being positive, okay? So when you start doing things like that and you start forcing yourself into positivity, it's not real. It's not real, it won't last, and you're not gonna feel good about it, and you're not gonna feel good about yourself, okay? Be honest with yourself. Be honest with how you feel. If you don't feel positive, don't act positive, because it's not real. Okay, the worst thing you can do is look positive out here and hurt in here, okay? Don't do that. Be honest. If you're hurting in here, okay, it's okay to be hurt. It's an emotion. It's a human thing. We're humans. Go for it, okay? Don't feel bad about it. So the other thing is, when you say it, oh, thank you. Hey, Rock Painting Mama, good morning. Thank you, thank you. Another thing is when you say like, oh, I'm trying to move on. I'm moving on. I'm moving on. I see a lot of girls do that. A lot of women do that, right? I'm moving on. I'm moving on. Moving on. They're trying to convince themselves they're moving on. They're not moving on. Why? Because they're still revisiting the memory all the time. They're still thinking about it. They're still talking about it. Right? You need to switch focus. You need to switch focus in that instance. Okay, or for whatever it is, you need to shift the focus. Pull your focus away from it, because whatever you focus on intensifies, okay? So what you're really doing in that sense, you're manifesting it more. You're bringing it into your world. You keep reiterating the reality of it, okay? So if you do these things, okay, that's basically the majority of our information on that. But if you do these things, you will be really good at cognitive filtering, because it won't get in your subconscious as much. It won't become a program. You disable the program when you take the emotion away from it, because it loses its meaning. When you classify it as insignificant in your subconscious, it fades. Sometimes Jay and I are talking and we're having production meetings or something. Meetings, early morning meetings. And we're having a discussion. And she asks me about things and I go, a certain thing. And I'm like, so I don't even remember. It's because of this process. Okay? It's because I practice cognitive filtering.